What if the greatest battle in your life isn't simply between right and wrong, but between taking and giving? Lust always asks one question: what can I get? Love asks a completely different question: what can I give? That difference changes everything. Most people think lust is only about sexual sin. But the Bible reveals something much deeper. Lust is any desire that puts self on the throne. It constantly reaches for satisfaction, recognition, comfort, and control. It wants to be validated. It wants to be noticed. It wants to be chosen. It wants to be served. It wants life to revolve around itself. Love is different. Love chooses to serve instead of demanding service. Love chooses sacrifice instead of selfishness. Love chooses faithfulness instead of instant gratification. This battle doesn't only appear in obvious sins. It quietly enters marriages, friendships, churches, workplaces, and even our relationship with God. Think about how often disappointment begins with unmet expectations. Sometimes we expect people to satisfy needs that only God can satisfy. We expect others to constantly encourage us, to understand us perfectly, to appreciate us, to meet every emotional need. When they fail, frustration grows, resentment follows, conflict begins, but the real issue is often deeper than the other person's actions. It is the heart asking to be served rather than learning to serve Jesus completely. Turn this mindset upside down. The Son of God did not come demanding that everyone serve him. Instead, he washed the feet of his disciples. He healed those who rejected him. He forgave those who mocked him. And ultimately he laid down his own life for sinners. That is love. Love always costs something. Real love is never convenient. It sacrifices. It forgives. It waits. It serves. It gives. Lust promises freedom but always leaves people empty. It says, take what you deserve. Protect yourself. Put yourself first. Demand your rights. But those promises never satisfy. The more the flesh receives, the more it craves. That is why selfish desire is never content. It always wants more attention, more pleasure, more approval, more comfort, more control. Yet the soul remains restless. Jesus offers something entirely different. He calls us to deny ourselves, take up our cross, and follow him. That sounds costly because it is. Following Christ is not simply avoiding certain sinful behaviors. It is allowing God to transform the heart itself. It is dying to selfish ambition. It is surrendering pride. It is replacing selfish desire with sacrificial love. The world says happiness comes from getting everything you want. Christ teaches that true joy comes from becoming more like him. The flesh says, protect yourself. The Spirit says, trust God. The flesh says, take. The Spirit says, give. The flesh says, demand your rights. The Spirit says, serve one another in love. Every day, these two voices compete for your heart. One voice offers temporary pleasure. The other offers lasting peace. One leads to emptiness. The other leads to abundant life. Transformation does not happen overnight. God patiently shapes his people. He teaches us to love when it is difficult, to forgive when it hurts, to remain faithful when feelings change, to serve even when no one notices. Every act of obedience becomes another step toward becoming more like Christ. The flesh often calls selfishness freedom, but selfishness leaves scars, broken relationships, broken trust, broken hearts. God's way may look like sacrifice at first, but his sacrifices produce something beautiful. They produce humility, faithfulness, peace, joy, and genuine love. Remember this. Lust always consumes. Love always builds. Lust uses people for personal satisfaction. Love values people because they bear the image of God. Lust asks, What can this person do for me? Love asks, how can I glorify God by serving this person? That is the heart Christ is forming within every believer. So today, examine your heart. Where have selfish desires quietly taken root? Where have expectations replaced grace? Where has the desire to be served become stronger than the desire to serve? Bring those things before Christ. His grace is greater than your failures. His Spirit is able to transform what your own strength never could. As you walk with Him day by day, your desires begin to change. The things that once ruled you lose their power. The love of Christ begins to overflow through your life. Because in the end, lust always asks, what can I get? But love, true, biblical, Christ-like love, will always ask, what can I give? And that kind of love is the love that changed the world at the cross.